What's up, guys? This is the Gospel According to Mark with a C. He is I, and I am he. Just taking some time to tell you exactly what's on my mind. And guys, I'm going to do one of those videos that pretty much get me 0 views. But, my channel isn't really about that. My channel is pretty much something that I hope that my son comes across a little bit later and realizes exactly what kind of a jerk his father is. All right. And also, like I said, I like to reach out, to you guys and everything. So, if I feel like I'm making a real connection and everything, then that's pretty much what I'm in it for. Maybe it's short-sighted and stuff, but that's kind of how I feel. But anyway, this is one of those message in a bottle videos where I'm just going to put it out there and I'm going to send it off. And if anybody finds it who can appreciate it or relate to it, that's fine. But what I want to do is I want to remember a date that means a lot to me, and I see the history is in the process of forgetting it. So I didn't want to let this day go past without at least noting this on my channel, even though, small channel and stuff, but like I said, it reflects me. And that would be the date of October 16th, 1995, which was the Million Man March. All right, I obviously was much, much younger then, and I went there with my father. And like I said before, I think I understand why history wants to forget about it, because that was a day that was very much dedicated to self-reflection and accountability for black men. All right, now today, as we look around, in our, science fiction and science fantasy and, all of this stuff that's going on with the fandom medicine stuff, I've heard a lot of white guys say that the day that we're living in, the times that we're living in now, the white malehood or white manhood is under attack. And I've gone on video as saying many times that I believe that's actually true because I recognize all of the moves from back in the day when there was a war on black manhood, and in those days, like now you have Brie Larson. Back then we had Oprah Winfrey. Here you have a whole Hollywood industry that it seems to be dedicated towards squashing the image of manhood. Back then we had a whole industry, a whole media that was driven to squash the image of black manhood. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, you need to understand that if you feel like black men are no good or, black men don't have the best image in the world and stuff like that, and, we're full of shit, quite frankly, it's probably because that's the way the media has painted us. Because for you to believe that and for you to feel that way, you would have to overlook all of the black cops that you see, like David Dorn, all of the bus drivers that you see, all of the construction workers that you see, all of the mailmen, all of the doctors, all of the firefighters, all of the executives, everything, all of the professionals that's out there, all of the blue collar workers, all of the dirty collar workers, as I call a lot of us, going to work every day. You have to overlook all of the fathers, all of the husbands, all of the sons and brothers, all of the people who are out there who are being productive and positive. You have to overlook all of that just to concentrate on the criminals, on the knuckleheads, on the all the people that's out there. You know what I mean? So, and that's the way I see it. So, like I said, today is the same thing. They call it toxic masculinity. Back then it was toxic black masculinity, and unfortunately a whole race can be judged that way, and that's what happened. So I was attracted to the Million Man March because it was a time to be counted in the number of positive men, positive black men. And I also like the fact that it was called the Million Man March. I actually met a lot of white guys out there who, and one of them reminded me that it's called the Million Man March, not the Million Black Man March. And I thought that was incredibly perceptive, and I really took that into my psyche. I don't want to be judged as a color, as a race. That is part of who I am. But at the end of the day, I really want to see myself as being part of the human race. All right. So what I saw out there really reaffirmed that. I saw a lot of men who wanted to be seen as men, who wanted to be seen as responsible, as doing the right thing, as saying, we know that we haven't always been the best role models. We know that we haven't always let the best of us shine through, and we let the worst of us, define who we are. But I saw that Day of Atonement, as it was called, as an opportunity to say that the good ones out here, the ones who want to do well, we want to be acknowledged, if only to ourselves, and I took that onto myself. I said that I can never blame a racist, for saying that all black people are this, all black people are that. I can never blame someone for saying that if I embody those things. I can't be, a criminal. I can't be an abuser. I can't be a cheater. I can't be lazy. I can't be these things. And if I do, if I allow myself to be that, I would have betrayed myself in the image of me. I can't look to anybody else, to say that's a black man if that's what I'm growing up to be. It's got to be me. It can only be me. I can't let anybody else speak for me but me. And I got that out of the Million Man March. I got that out of a Day of Atonement. So for a lot of people who say that that day was a failure, because of course they want to continue to judge black men by the worst of us instead of the best of us, I would say you go on and do that. But I know that that day changed me, and I don't have to look any further than myself. So if you want to prove that the Million Man March was a failure by pointing to the drug dealers, by pointing to the thieves and the killers and all that stuff, well, you can go on and do that. But I won't internalize that. I won't let that be who I am. I won't let that represent me. So I became stronger for the Million Man March. I became a more dedicated and focused father because of the Million Man March. Because from that day, that sense of accountability was born within me. It wasn't about Farrakhan. The media tried to paint Farrakhan's face all over it. I left before Farrakhan even got there. I remember we went out there, it was a bunch of men. We got on the bus, like the Spike Lee movie. I went with my father. We marched towards the Capitol singing What's Going On by Marvin Gaye. It was the most beautiful thing I ever heard. Thousands and thousands of voices. Mother, mother, there's far too many of you crying. And we just went down there and we sang in unison and actually sounded like we could carry a note, but in reality it probably sounded terrible. But we stood together. I saw men hugging. I saw men dropping wallets, picking it up and giving it back to each other. Decency. That's what the day stood for me. And I want that spirit to continue. And that's the reason why I won't forget it, at least on my channel. Even though, like I said, history wants to forget it. History wants to redefine it. Fake news, Donald Trump talks about fake news. I knew about fake news back in 1995 when they tried to paint that beautiful event as being something that was hateful and wrong and negative. And that wasn't what I saw. So today, when I see that same media want to point to a group of white guys and say, oh, that's alt-right, that's this and that's that, I'm going to have to see it for myself. I don't want to hear it from the media because I know that the media lies. So I learned that day because I was there. I saw what that was. And when I came home, it broke my heart to see the way the media defined it. But I know the reason why they did, because they want us to be more victims. That's why. They don't want us to be accountable for ourselves. And that's the reason why history is going to forget the Million Man March, because they want us to be victims. They want us to be pathetic. They want us crying on TV and they want us doing all those things. The last thing they want us to do is to stand up and say that we're in control of our destiny. But that's what it is. And they don't want us to see that we're part of a human race. That we're part of a human family. They want to separate people. It was called the Million Man March, not the Million Black Man March, even though it was directed towards black men, because it was our announcing to the world that we are ready to join you. We're ready to be productive. We're ready to be partners with you. That was what it was about. We're ready to carry our weight. That's what it was about. And that's the reason why history wants to forget it. And that's why I won't forget it. And that's why my son won't forget it, even if it's on this tiny channel. All right? So shame on the bigger channels and shame on the media for throwing dirt on this. And I'm not talking about white media. I'm not talking about white channels. I'm talking about black channels that want to forget it, because the only time we ever see value in ourselves is when we're begging somebody else for it. Not on this channel, not with me. And that's the spirit of the Million Man March for me. And that's what we were saying that day. Long live the spirit of the Million Man March. That was the chant. Long live the spirit of the Million Man March. So there it is. Now, this video, like I said, won't get many views at all. And that's fine. That's okay. Because like I said from the very beginning, years ago, when I made my very first video, I said these videos are messages in a bottle. All right, they might be around long after I'm gone. I'm throwing them out there because somebody has to tell the truth. Because those of us who shouldn't be speaking have been speaking the loudest. And those of us who should be speaking up, we've been quiet for too long. When's the last time you heard me say that? It's probably been years. Nothing's changed. Anyway, you can get in the comment section. Let me know how you feel. If you were even born back then, If you were there, sound off. Let me know how you feel about the years that have passed since then. All right, guys, you can like, you can share, you can subscribe, and as always, you can catch me on Twitter. The link to my Twitter page will be in the description box below. Give me a follow. All right, guys, that's it for now. This is the Gospel According to Mark with a C. Long live the spirit of the Million Man March, and rock on.